All right, so we're currently starting reading One Piece manga chapter 1000. Ooh, all right, 1156. We were looking at the color spread. Looks like of the Rogers Pirates with Sanji and with Zoro. I had told you yesterday I had heard that there was going to be like a Roger Pirate color spread from people, and you were like, "Oh, it's not really what it is." Like, that is actually 100%. Also, what's up, Game Prodigy? Hello.
Hey, chat too. Also said Nami's there for no reason.
Also, I like the fact that Nami is there. That is a gorgeous thumbnail. Oh, yeah, I guess you can kind of see like Chopper and Jinbei and Robin down there as well. I love this though. Also, this further confirms to me that like Scopper Gabon and Rayleigh, end of series, Zoro and Sanji, gonna be on an even playing field. Obviously, everybody's always saying, oh, Sanji's way weaker than Zoro. I know I kind of went like mini viral on TikTok because Bogard guy tweeted me saying that I think that Zoro and Sanji are gonna end up being same level by end of series because of a certain couple things that I know. And then he got me in trouble. So thanks a lot, Bogard guy, but also you're great. Always say hello to me. It's always a pleasure. All right, we're getting started at 11:56 in 3, 2, 1. I'm swiping the page. All right, 11:56, idols. Back in this time, a group of idols roamed the seas, okay? We're under attack by pirates. Why aren't you men fighting back? You're useless. They stole, I see. Okay, I see already why he's gonna say it's a cute chapter. We got the Kuja Pirates in this one. It says they stole everything we have, and the menfolk were no help at all. They're too tough. You didn't even try to fight. How are we gonna make a living now? Even the Navy had trouble dealing with them. They were known as the Kuja Pirates, a band of warriors from the exotic country of women. I am hoping and praying that we see what I think we're about to see in this chapter. All right, here we go. Also, the artwork in this is really good. I'm looking on this one panel on the top of what I believe would be, page 3? And it's that little bit in the corner where you see, I'm looking for like Panda Man. Like there's a character that's on the far right, you could see in that panel, that looks like he's got like a Santa hat on or something. But I'm looking for Panda Man. He's probably not here. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, these pirates were strong and beautiful and shunned the presence of men. I am sick and tired of looking like this all the time. I am not sick and tired of it. She looks gorgeous. We've got the Empress of Amazon Lily, captain of the Kuja Pirates, Gloriosa, future Grandma Nyan. Now, obviously, we've seen her in some of the flashbacks with the Rocks Pirates before. Never looking quite like this, looking absolutely beautiful here, saying, if only I could strip away this beauty of mine. She is also completely being a pick-me right now. There's no way in a million years she wouldn't want to be beautiful. And you got all the people in the back going, Lady Gloriosa, you're a goddess. She's adorably devious. I love her. I feel my brain being bathed in light, asking for permission to have a heart attack. And you can even see the little snakes falling behind. That's probably like an ancestor of Salome or something. I don't know. But I love that. All right. Lady Gloriosa, look at all your fan letters. Also, I don't know if you guys could hear that in the background. They're announcing for Tokon. The line for Tokon this morning, walking in the convention floor, was crazy. I got here early, and literally there were already people lined up way outside of the doors at like 8. And apparently, the show floor opened at like 8:30, right? Yeah. So there was already 30 minutes in, tons of people waiting to go play Tokon. But again, we don't care about Tokon right now. We care about One Piece. Let's continue. All right. Tritoma. What is that enormous pile back there? These are for Lady Shaki. All right, there's 100. This also seems like a James character, by the way. Tritoma. So we got this new Kuja Pirate, new Amazon Lily Empress. Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on a minute. I misread that for a second. Hold on a minute. They're cooking. Wait a minute. Tritoma. These are for Lady Shaki. There's 100 times more over there. Tritoma, Amazon Lily Empress. 2 generations later. Okay. I'm gonna reserve judgment.
Tritoma does seem cute though.
She does seem super cute. I'm not gonna say anything until I read the chapter, but this is very interesting they're introducing this now. The fact that this flashback with Loki literally already has stuff with like the Rocks Pirates and all these other characters that I never thought in a million years were gonna be involved here. This is fire. I will come back to this, chat. Don't worry, I will come back to this. Also, Wisdom is saying, shout out for the Evo reaction. I got you. Also, someone in the chat bringing up, isn't she the one that died of love sickness? You see what I'm saying? I believe the audience knows what I'm saying as well. Everyone's over here reading on their phone. Oh, you don't know? All right. See, Prodigy doesn't know. Prodigy's over here like, I'm worried about my Hoyle wifeys. I'm not worried about One Piece. All right, let's continue. Here we go. It's preposterous. I'm the captain of this crew. She's like a little icy jewel of fury, and you can see. I love that little chibi version of her right there. That's great. Yes, the true star of the times, who outshone even Gloriosa's beauty, was her first mate, Shaku Yaku, who we all better know as Shaki from the bar. This is fire. Let's go. Okay, enemy ship approaching, Captain. Wait, wait, what's going on? And you can see two of them in the back. That one doesn't even have a shirt on. Let's go. All right, Roger speaking. This is Roger. The Roger Pirates have arrived. Don't bother resisting, Kuja Pirates. This is okay. This is gonna be good. This is good. People cook. I also am blown away by the fact that no one spoiled me on this. This is a Roger chapter. This is great. All right, let us continue. We got Roger screaming out, today, once and for all, you're finally going to hand over your first mate, Shaku Yaku. So he's trying to kidnap her? Why haven't you learned your lesson already, Roger? You already have my affections to return. To be fair, Gloriosa is very much more my type than Shaki is, probably because she looks a little bit more like Reagan. But I feel like I've always liked her a little bit more. Like even from what we saw in the Rocks Pirates things earlier, where we saw like the color spreads of them when they were younger. But clearly, they're setting up Shaki to be something cool. All right. Why haven't you learned your lesson already, Roger? You already have my affections to return. And you got the Roger pirate ship and the Kuja pirate ship, them yelling, seize her. But who exactly are you expecting to seize? Bro, how are we here right now? Like, how are we here in Loki's flash? Loki said he had 2 minutes, all right, to tell the story to Haruden of what happened with his father. What the hell does any of this have to do with his flashback? And I'm not complaining. He's the one telling the flashback. Why is he including Roger thirsting over Shaki? Again, I don't mind. This is great information. This is good news. This is big news, in the words of Big News Morgans. But I'm stunned by this. All right. Here we go. You got all them screaming, Lady Shaku Yaku. Someone once said that her every move and gesture embodied pure seduction. You got everyone else screaming, hearts in their eyes. Flowers. Please take my flowers. But no, not his, except my gift of flowers, Shaki. And you've got all these little bums over here, these little Twitch chat simps simping over Shaki. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to compete with Rayleigh, all right? Rayleigh better show up and smack Roger in the face, honestly. If Roger's in love with Shaki, what is Shaki doing with Rayleigh? And how did that happen? We better find out more of this information. Loki, I only know you got 2 minutes. I want to know more. All right. In her presence, flowers wilted and crumbled. And you can see the little birds even with hearts in their eyes. Did you see that?
I didn't notice.
Birds forgot how to sing, and people erupted into fighting. And they're all screaming, don't touch Shaki. Ooh, Gabon, okay. Why is she flirting with Gabon, bro? What is it? Where is it? What is it? What's going on here? What is this? When she calls my name, I lose all strength. Oh, she just knows that's his weakness. She knows she could just basically flirt with him, and because Gabon's a ladies' man anyway, kick him in the face and be done with it. End the seizure of the Roger Pirates. All right, it's been a while, Roger. And meanwhile, Roger's like, what did you do to Gabon? Literally shaking in her presence. Damn it. I love you, Shaku Yaku. Also, don't let Port Castille Rouge know. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Very questionable. And she, wait, what? What is this? What am I, okay. He, I love you too. In the face of such beauty, the mighty made fools of themselves. You've got Roger with the giant welt, hearts in his eyes from landing onto the ground. Shaki looking like Boa in this shot as well, standing over Roger. You can see his sword there on the ground. Okay, I'm assuming she's the thumbnail. She's the thumbnail. I know where we're going with this. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. But I will belong to no one. Kuja Pirate first mate, Shaku Yaku, seeing Shaki full form in her younger form. Everyone is screaming, hearts in their eyes. Pull all the treasure out of your hold. My soul is being taken to the heavens. I feel for you, Rayleigh. Yeah, it's, oh, so this explains it. Okay, this is why she ends up with Rayleigh. This is like almost like a Luffy situation. Yeah. Luffy doesn't care about Boa. Rayleigh doesn't care about Shaki. He's like, everyone else is going to drool over you. It doesn't matter. So you can see he's looking stone-faced over here. The rest of them just completely freaking out. My soul's being taken to heaven. Don't you understand the honor of being loved by me, Roger? Now move it, Gloriosa. I can't see Shaki. Come on, just go with Gloriosa. What are you doing? What are you doing over here, all right? Rayleigh's the only one who can stand up to her. It's fine. Meanwhile, she's winking over at him, and even Rayleigh is still shaking in his boots a little bit in the bottom left-hand corner. You can see the little exclamation point sticking up, the scar on his eyes. He can barely contain himself. He still is managing to, like, not completely fall apart. There are hearts in his eyes, but it's, like, not the same way. And obviously, like I said, Rayleigh's still holding it down. Lady Gloriosa, it's the Navy. It's Roger and the Kuja Pirates. Make sure to snatch some pictures. We're gonna sell these, okay? We got the paparazzi over here too. What's going on? All right, hurry and pack up the goods and don't leave a single crumb of bread. Yes, ma'am. And let's at least leave us some food. We gotta get moving, prepare to sail. Bro, what is happening? What is happening here? Take a look, Roger. That's Garp's ship. It's what? Disregard that order, listen up, boys, and flatten them all. Again, I don't know what this has to do with Harold, why we are seeing all of this in Loki's flashback, but this is fire. We've got Goldie Roger, future Pirate King and father of Ace. Meanwhile, Navy HQ Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garp, future naval hero and grandfather of Luffy. Both of them also looking very much like Luffy and Ace in this panel, like looking really, really cool, channeling their, channeling their grandsons. All right, I'm gonna turn the page. I'm gonna see what's happening next. Meteor Fist and Rampaging Spirit. Here it comes. And you got them going, it just had to be Garp's ship, huh? Meanwhile, Garp, he's screaming, screaming, Roger! This is, what? Bro, okay. We're getting the clash of hockey of Garp and Roger punching each other in the face, conquerors hockey emanating off both of them. Roger, Garp, and Rox, men whose tales were spread as legends in the great age of pirates, first clashed here in their hot-blooded youth, and we get an amazing panel of Roger and Garp duking it out on the bottom. And meanwhile, over on the left-hand side, Lady Gloriosa thumping to the ground. The Kuja, meanwhile, were tremendously popular and became an indispensable part of the story of this era. Well, this also makes sense considering the fact that, like, we saw Gloriosa in the flashbacks with the Rocks Pirates. We know Shaki's probably involved in some way. She said that, so, like, this makes sense. Get a grip, sister. My chest feels tight. And you got the rest of them going, they're so gorgeous. These untouchable idols were the desire of all the salty dogs on the sea, and their bounty posters were traded for considerable. This is also kind of messed up. Hidden cameras and pursuers became an everyday problem for them. Meanwhile, later, when Shaki took the mantle of Empress, her popularity reached heights never before seen. I really genuinely love her younger design. It is still kind of crazy that we've never actually seen this. Like, we've never actually seen her younger design up to this point. I thought for sure we would have, but looking at this, I'm like, no, wait a minute, this is entirely new. All right, I'm gonna turn the page. This is a long chapter, by the way. What the heck? All right. Yeah. Ida's bar in Elbaf. All right, so now we're getting back to the story of Elbaf. The boat capsized and Loki was drowning. To be honest, we weren't even sure if we would save him or not. Well, that's how his bad behavior is. Oh, excuse me. That's how bad his behavior has been while you're gone. And you can see the ship right in the front with the rest of them over here. I appreciate that. Thank you for saving him. Hang in there, Loki. I love the fact that Harold's actually just a good dad. The fact that he does actually care about Loki. I feel like Loki all this time has just been like, my dad doesn't love me. We got that little glimpse of it, like when in the last chapter, we got, Rox beating up Loki and saying, oh, he fell off a cliff. He should be more careful next time. And meanwhile, Harold's taking care of him. You'd think Loki would be pissed, but instead, Loki was like, oh, I guess my dad actually does love me. So here we're getting more of this again, him caring for Loki. Now, what do you mean you weren't sure? Come on, let's save the boy. What if Loki had died out there? I also love the fact he's got a good relationship with his ex. Obviously, his second wife was horrible. And didn't she end up dying? I'm pretty sure she died. So thankfully, we're back with the first wife. What if Loki had died out there? Now listen, Ida, it was Loki's decision to go out to sea. So what? If you abandon Loki, I'll drown you 100 times. Now, I didn't ask for help. But see? That's the attitude that he takes. It makes me so furious. And meanwhile, this sea captain over here just wants the best for Loki, and Loki wants none of it. He's lost his mom, and his dad is too busy to stay home. It's just that Loki is lonely is all. Meanwhile, he's screaming back, "Shut up, you hag!" Well, do you want to live with us? And this is how we're going to get that relationship with them as brothers growing up. Haruden and Loki both exclaiming, "No way!" with Ida basically becoming the mother stand-in finally. He's finally going to have a good mother figure again. It's like that, I don't even remember, Estrid, wasn't that her name? I feel like it was Estrid. I think it was Estrid, yeah. Estrid's terrible. So he's much better off with Ida anyway. All right. You just want to pretend to be my mom and live in the castle, Ida. That's all it is. You just want all the money, thinking she's a gold digger. And meanwhile, Haruden's over here going, "Shut up, Loki." Apologize to her, Loki. You've crossed the line. You honestly have no idea what Ida has been through. I like the fact, again, Harold's defending his ex-wife. All right. You kids are too sweet. Come on, you're being too soft on him, Ida. Again, this is like further solidifying for me that Ida probably is Masa, you know, the character that was talking to him like on the Den Mushi that like had to be secretive about talking to him. I feel like Ida, considering how long the Giants live, and hopefully if nothing bad happens to her in the flashback, I still feel like she would be the one communicating, but we're also still on the reaction. There's a lot more that could happen during this chapter, so I'll just shut my mouth and keep reading. All right. I hate the way Loki talks to you, Ida. It's just not fair. And you got another one of the little kids over here. Are you crying for me, Mato? This world, it's just too good for me. Meanwhile, you got Loki screaming, "I'm sick of this country already. Everyone's so weak and wimpy and trashy. I want to be free, just like rocks." Which is so crazy to me that he's idolizing this dude that threw him off a cliff. From that point on, every time Rocks came to invite Harold to join him, Loki begged and pleaded to join his pirate ship, but never got his way. "I'm finally leaving. Aren't you relieved? To tell the truth, I hate all of you too." That's not true. Let's continue. All right. Bro, what? How is it still going? Several months after the takeover of Pirate Island by the Rocks Pirates. Okay, so now we're jumping away from Loki to who are you? I want to join the Rocks Pirates. Yahaha, I'm sure everybody wants to do that too, but you'll never even meet him. Okay, the Rocks Pirates are the all-stars of evil on the sea. Do you see that fish-shaped rock up there? Apparently that's where they hang out. If you want to meet him, go on. Also, who is this Guilty Gear looking character over here with the crosses in his eyes? What is this? Very suitable. Yeah, exactly. Suitable that we're here at Evo reading this chapter. All right, you want to meet him? Go on in. But the further inland you go, the crazier the folks will get. Good luck trying to get there. All right? I'll give you a little push. Meanwhile, you just get a single oof, and the rest of them laugh and go easy on him. This guy, meanwhile, grabbing him with one single hand, cracking his skull. You got the dude screaming, "Mobster Kyo, future Silver Axe." Okay. Okay. Did we not already know Silver Axe's name? Didn't we just say during like 2 chapters ago, maybe I'm misremembering, I think there was another character where we already got the name. Who am I thinking of? It's someone that was on the Rocks Pirates that we got the name of. I'm going to keep reading. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep reading. We'll talk about it. I'm sure someone's going to bring it up in the super chats. I'll keep reading. I guess this is Silver Axe. Mobster Kyo, future Silver Axe. What is Shiki's rival doing here? Kyo the Hitman. I also love the fact that he's got like X's in his eyes and that the X's glow when he's got the hood on. Really cool design, by the way, too, man. I love this with like the Yakuza tattoos down here and everything. The powerful figures drawn to Rocks brought in mighty other types in their wake. So stay back or he'll kill you. Again, interesting that they're hyping him up as like the rival of Shiki, but we're going to keep moving. All right. And you get another explosion at the top of Philoled. You got the, there. What about that view? Take in the sights. I think opening these holes was the right idea. Don't you agree? And meanwhile, you can see all these other pirates up on the top after the explosion on Philoled. Let's turn the page. Oh, bro. Okay, even more of them. Okay. Okay. Rocks is, bro. What is, you guys are here for a good chapter. I'm like, what is happening right now? To sum it all up, there's 2 devil fruits out there that I want. Okay, one of them is most likely found on Elbaf. I'm assuming he's going to be talking about the sun god one. And its powers will only be truly unlocked if Harold eats it. Okay, meanwhile, we're seeing Pirate John actually having dialogue here, going after John's treasure. After that, You want to find Galilea, right? I only know of them as legend. But I've got information, I've got my information network on the hunt. And there's no hint of a band of frozen giants anywhere. So we've got Captain John of John's Treasure that Buggy's going after, having this conversation with future Big Mom, young Charlotte Linlin, hunting for the frozen giants of Galilea that we know are in Punk Hazard, right? We saw them in the flashback. Meanwhile, this is just happening in Elbaf. This is crazy. This is crazy that we're on Full Lead Island in a Loki flashback during the Elbaf story arc. All these big legend characters showing up here. This is so... Also, why look down at the bottom of the page? What is this, bro? What is this, Strusen? If they exist, they're corpses. We've got, Whitebeard in the bottom right. And meanwhile, Strusen from the Big Mom Pirates, who made all the food for all the different islands, is part of Rocks as Linlin's partner, which is also freaky. There's a lot of stuff to say there. Why are they saying Linlin's partner? We know Linlin obviously met him as a child. We don't know what's going on with her children. We don't know when she had her first children, but this guy looks a lot like Parasparrow. I said that dating back when we first saw Strusen on Whole Cake Island. I don't like the implications of any of this. But meanwhile, Strusen is here saying if they exist, they're corpses, talking with Whitebeard. Good point, they ain't coming back to life. Also interesting, they're bringing up this stuff with the corpses and then Galilea and the Frozen, and then Moria and Blackbeard and the present, and Blackbeard being Rox's kid. There's too much. Shut up. We're talking about dreams here. And we're getting another completely new Rocks pirate, Barbell, the Catfish Man. Oh no, the Catfish Fish Man, okay? If they were to somehow be brought back, they have no reason to listen to you. And that is why I need the power of Harold, King of Elbaf, bro. And we've got young Kaido with the horns on land, on sea, and in the air. Always bet on Kaido, future King of the Beast Pirates. Can't you just surprise, bro, this is crazy. This is actually insane. How did you say that you thought it was going to be like an okay chapter? Were you just like not hyping up to me because you wanted to see this? This is like, I mean, this is genuinely like insane. We are getting so much information here. All right. We're getting young Kaido, future King of the Beast Pirates. They're talking about Harold and needing his power. Can't you just suppress them with sheer strength? Same thing for Harold. Just crush him and make him obey you. What? Don't ever say that to me again. Knock it off, Rocks. Rocks literally just punting Kaido in the face. You too, Kaido. Calm down over here. What is happening? Okay. We just got this island, and now you want to smash it to pieces? This crew is bound to fall apart sooner or later. But I don't, wait, hold on. I'm misreading. Excuse me. I haven't had my coffee yet. It's early in the morning. Let me put my glasses on, actually. I've been going this whole time. Realize I can't even half read the page. I should put my glasses on. All right. Making sure I don't miss anything. This is insane. All right. You two, calm down, Kaido. We just got this island. You want to smash it to pieces. The crew is bound to fall apart sooner rather than later. We've got Captain John saying, so why don't we earn a little more before it happens? Take it easy, new kid. Harold is my pal. You say that nonsense again and I'm going to get rid of you. Kaido, bro, what? This dialogue is insane. This is insane. This is actually an insane chapter. Okay, you say that nonsense again, I'll get rid of you first. The fact the stocks are rising for Rocks right now. I am not a power scaler, all right? I am not somebody who's out here saying, oh, this character beat this character and this character stronger than this character. But the fact that he's just kicking him in the face, telling him to sit down like a dog, it's just insane. All right, you say that nonsense again. I'll get rid of you first, Kaido. All right, next page. Bro. I'm a sucker for these kind of panels. I love this. We've got a full 2-page spread of the Rocks Pirates post-introductions. Listen up, folks. Elbaf is the key to taking down the Holy Land. Now, if you don't trust me on that, get lost. We've got the Rocks Pirate banner behind him. It is up to you whether or not you want to follow me on the fateful day of our mission. But if you've got the stones for it, then stick around with me for a little bit, and I'll show you the peak of the world. One Piece Manga chapter 1156 end. Bro, this chapter is incredible. This chapter is so unbelievably good. I guess I'm going to start with the review time real quick. Okay. I also didn't even really get a chance to process this final panel, but I figured it's probably better to talk about this in the review because then I could see everybody and talk about everything. I know I already talked about the Kaido and Rock stuff earlier. I'm just going to say this right at the very beginning. I know there's a lot of people in here. Shout out to all the people that are watching. Shout out to everybody watching live at Evo. This is wonderful once again. Everyone join in, like I said, early at like 9 a.m. Look at this. And like I said, you were listening to the other panels. We got James over here still selling. This is fire. All right. First things first, okay? Looking at the setup of the Rocks Pirates here, seeing actually all of them together, right? Seeing John, seeing Silver Axe, John in particular, like I said, getting dialogue. Like I've always wanted more from him, and I always felt like Oda, I don't know, like kind of skimped out on showing us anything with Captain John, despite the fact that is so important for Buggy, right? Like I feel like Captain John's treasure is a huge thing that he's after. There's obviously going to be ties later on to the story to finding it or thinking that it's going to be somewhere else. The fact that we're seeing him in real time, I know there's a lot of stuff that happened in this chapter with Shaki and all these other characters. It's probably weird that I'm freaking out over Captain John, but I've just genuinely wanted so much more of him since. The fact that we're actually seeing it here is amazing. There's so much happening here. The fact that we still got the mobster from West Blue that we talked about during the last manga chapter, or 2 manga chapter reactions ago, right? Potentially being the mobster that Gang Beige killed to then become a supernova. I believe this guy's name was Marlowe, right? Or like Marlon Brando or something. Or I think it was Marlon actually. The fact that we're seeing him here and this new catfish man, like, hold on, I'm gonna go back over here. So the catfish man is Barbell. I'm trying to think if we've seen him at any other port in the story. If this is a character that has shown up at any other time, he doesn't look familiar to me. Even when we saw the other like panels of the Rocks Pirates, I don't believe we've seen him. I do think he is brand new. Also, the fact that we're seeing Streusen as part of the crew is very strange to me because obviously Streusen was going to be involved in some way. Streusen was the first partner for Linlin, and we know that Linlin was part of the Rocks Pirates, but what happened to Streusen? Did he then go back to Whole Cake Island? Did Big Mom leave him there when everything was happening, like to go set up the other islands and then said like, oh, I'll be back a little bit later after Rocks disbands? Like, why aren't half of these characters there at God Valley? I'm assuming that's going to be something else we're going to find out. And the fact that Loki, right, is admiring Rocks the way that he is, and that Harold is considered a friend of Rocks, leads me to believe a lot more of the stuff is going to tie into the actual story of Elbaf and the characters that we're seeing here. Some of these character designs, like I'm saying, man, incredible. Kyo, like I'm looking, this is page 15. Kyo, Mobster Kyo, his design with like those Yakuza tattoos, the giant silver axe behind him, the way that they're hyping him up, right, to be Shiki's rival. We haven't seen him at all. Did they even mention Silver Axe at all once in Strong World? Like, this is some hype stuff to just randomly throw in there, and also leads me to believe that this is maybe something where we could have like characters at God Valley. We already know there's going to be a mutiny. We already know there's going to be a bunch of characters that end up breaking off and disbanding that day. I'm wondering if there's going to be like infighting among these pirates. If we're seeing like Kyo as Shiki's rival, is that going to be something at some point in which we end up seeing like a fight between the two of them about whether or not they should disband? Super hype stuff here. Looking again at some of these other chapters, like we know that Gloriosa is going to join them. Gloriosa, I'm looking at this page, is not with them right now. Now, obviously, the first half of this chapter was Shaki and Gloriosa. If she is not with them, that is obviously going to tie into something else that we're going to be getting over the course of the next couple chapters. This is super cool. Again, seeing the other characters from the previous chapter. Who is that character that's in the bottom right? Hold on, I'm going to scroll. My chat is going crazy, by the way. I'm so sorry that I'm not able to read it right now. Hold on. I got to open this up. Is there a way where I could see live chat on my phone? Let me see. Channel activity. Chat message. Okay, here we go. All right, we're seeing chat messages. Here we go. Okay, I'm able to see some chat messages now. This is good. What I was going to say, I don't think we've seen that character that's in the bottom right, and that character kind of looks a little bit like Dellinger. Am I weird in thinking that? Like, James, do you think this dude looks like Dellinger at all? The one that's in the bottom right? This guy.
I thought that's like, not Stussy?
I don't think that's Stussy. I mean, it might be. That would be a weird outfit for Stussy. I don't think it is, though. Normally we see her.
That in a previous chapter?
Maybe she was. I don't know. That just looked like a new character to me.
Wearing that in a previous chapter.
This is just again, the amount of stuff that's just on screen, the aura that is being farmed out of this panel is unreal. And the fact that this is only a third of the chapter. Like, we still got more stuff with Loki and with Harold. We got more stuff with Ida. Like, I think a lot of people probably, when talking about this chapter, are going to be talking about all the new characters that are being introduced and the stuff in the beginning with Shaki and Roger. But I actually think this stuff with Ida and with Loki and Harden is extremely important and is going to build up, even further once we end up seeing the fate of Harold later on in this flashback. Again, it just is crazy to me that when we started all of this, Harden was like, "You got 2 minutes to explain yourself, Loki." And then meanwhile, we're seeing all of this new information that we didn't necessarily need to get here. I think this is further proving, seeing all this information in this one chapter, that Oda is wrapping things up tightly, right? Like, not saying that One Piece is going to be ending in like the next year or so. Thank you, bud. Oh, that is, okay, hold on. Could you hold that up real quick? Yeah, show me that. That is very clearly Stussy. We've seen her wearing that in a different panel. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Also, man, killer memory remembering that was one of her outfits. Did you almost do her for a thumbnail?
No. I remember wearing it. I like Stussy.
I also like Stussy. Stussy's great. But what I was going to say here, right? The stuff with Ida and with Loki and with Haruden, my assumption, just in this review portion, and again, this is all speculation. I'm sure we're going to get to some super chat theories. We're going to talk to the audience. We're going to talk to James. The one thing I am going to say is I feel like something may happen or like may threaten to happen to Ida. And I feel like Harold is going to step in and end up getting Domi reversing or something. Because honestly, like, Loki showing the love that he's seeing from his father and like knowing that there's something else being set up here. I don't see a world in which he knowingly like kills his dad for any reason. Like, there's got to be something where his dad gets taken over by the government, like with Emu and the Domi Reversi or like some of the other giants. And then obviously Loki has to put him down because he has no other way to, to deal with him. We still don't really know, even within the canon of the story, we know Gabon has a way to deal with some of these characters with their regeneration. But these giants that are in Elbaf, they don't know what's going on necessarily. So I am very curious to see where that's going to lead and how Harold is going to end up getting caught. If, we've even seen in previous chapters that Harold is kind of going toe-to-toe with Rox in many of these situations, and Rox is literally kicking Kaido in the face. Like, there's like the power scaling and like seeing which characters are stronger at this point in the story, it's truly unprecedented territory we're in right now. And so I am very much like wondering what the heck is going to happen to Harold. Like, what kind of character can come in and actually stop him? I feel like it's got to be somebody like Emu, right? It's got to be somebody super, super strong, take over him, and then Loki's going to have to stop him along with all the other giants. But it has to be somebody strong. If it's not somebody like supremely strong, a lot of this wouldn't make sense. But again, in Oda, I trust. I feel like this is going in the right direction here. Now, let me go back a little bit more. I'm going to go back. This is to page, also, dude, even this right here. Like, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see this panel right here of Garp and Roger is just incredible. Like, scrolling through the rest of this chapter and seeing this, it's awesome. All right, so now we've got the stuff with Shaki, right? We've got the stuff with Shaki. I am wondering, also, oh my God, I'm looking on this other panel. We have a whole other thing to talk about. I'm going to be here for a while. Sorry, people, we're going to be here a while talking about this chapter. There's going to be a lot. All right, so Shaki, first off, all right, obviously, Roger's in love with her. The other Roger pirates are in love with her. Rayleigh clearly is in love with her, but at the same time is not falling for the love sickness the same way everything else is, or everybody else is that's on the crew, which is probably why he, she ends up choosing him. But Shaki, again, we kind of already knew her relation to an old, pirate crew. We kind of assumed that she was related to Rox in some way. We already know her relationship with Rayleigh. A lot of this stuff isn't new information beyond the stuff that, like, the Roger pirates were also all in love with her. And I do think it's kind of wild the way they were setting up the Kuja Pirates, like, way back in the past, as sort of being like idols, right? That, like, idols, even pre-Uta being in this world, the fact that, like, there's hidden cameras being placed all over the place to try to get footage of them, and like everyone else is just falling over head over heels in love with them. I love it. But Shaki is not the character I want to talk about, despite how cool this portion of the chapter is. The thing I want to talk about right here is right here on page 4 and 5. Okay, we get the introduction of a character, Tritoma, who is the Amazon Lily Empress 2 generations later. We know this Empress died of love sickness. This is a thing we know within the canon of the story. it is maybe too early to say, right? And I don't want to go out there and be wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway, all right? Just with the information that we got in this chapter, hard read, after one single panel of her, I think Tritoma is Luffy's mom. I do. I actually think Tritoma is Luffy's mom, because it says here, Amazon Lily Empress 2 generations later. We already know that Gloriosa is the Empress. After her is going to be Shaki. We know Shaki leaves in love with someone. Tritoma, assuming, dies of the love sickness. Now, if that's the case, and we know from the Kuma flashback that he sent everybody in 3D2Y to go to places that were related to either their backstory to help them go stronger, right? We even saw this like in Egghead Island in Kuma's flashback when he was visiting the different places. Kuma would know if Dragon had a child, where that child is from, and what the lineage of that child is. I kind of feel like, looking at Tritoma, that image of her smiling, and again, this is early on, but trying to think of like the timing of when things are happening in the story, because Garp is already an adult at this point, right? Him and Roger are fighting with each other. Shaki's the one they're all after. It's not Tritoma. Tritoma would be the next generation, which would then be Garp's kid, which would then be Dragon. I am almost wondering if something happens, she doesn't actually die of love sickness, and that is just the story that is being told and fed to the Amazons to basically keep them from being in trouble, because we know obviously Boa had to join the Shichibukai to protect them, right? I'm almost wondering if this whole thing with like the love sickness and the previous empress dying is a cover-up so that the world government doesn't investigate further, considering the fact that like her husband or, you know, boyfriend or baby daddy or whatever would end up being the most wanted man and leader of the Revolutionary Army. It's an interesting thing to introduce right in this chapter, this former empress 2 generations later that has no other correlation to the story, that we've never seen before, we've never heard the name of, we've literally just heard that she dies of love sickness. There's something going on with her. Obviously, we're going to keep her eye on her. We don't even see that much of her in this chapter, right? We get the stuff with Gloriosa, we get the stuff with Shaki, but again, this little moment of her like delivering the fan mail letters, this is only 2 panels. So again, this is very early days. And I don't want to do, I don't want to make like a full theory video about this just yet. I want to let this chapter process. But I do feel like this could potentially be Luffy's mom, because we're coming close to the end of the series. I feel like we are at a point right now, especially with the pacing of what's been happening with this series so far. We're like getting all this information with Rox and Loki's flashback.
Did Oda give a time frame for when he wants?
So Oda, okay. So that's actually a good question. He said, did Oda give a time frame for the end of One Piece? Now, we all know Oda is a perpetual liar, right? He said time and time again, it's gonna be 80% done, it's gonna be 60% done, whatever. But, and I said this earlier, I had a conversation with someone that was on the show floor. I said this earlier. He said at the end of Wano in 2022, right, that One Piece would end in approximately 5 years, which would take us to 2027. Which realistically, looking at what we got in the story right now, with the pace at which things are moving, I don't see a world in which this ends like July 2027, which would be the 30th anniversary of One Piece. But I do see a situation in which we could be entering the Laugh Tale arc by that point, right? Like assuming Elbaf goes into Final War, and assuming these two are connected, and the time dilation stuff is actually correct, right? And the stuff with the revolutionaries and with the God Knights is actually currently happening in Marijoa, and we kind of enter as we leave Elbaf mise en scene. I could see a world in which like this could last to the end of this year, and that Final War could be all of next year and like the beginning of 2027, getting to the end of Final War and then being like, by the way, we still have the final arc. It's going to be another 2 years, But I also think the other thing about that is Oda, when he made that statement, I don't think took into consideration breaks, right? Like I don't think he takes breaks all the time. Like, by the way, is there a break after this chapter? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, there is a break after this chapter.
Don't ask me.
Oh, there is a break. Okay, so there is a break after this chapter.
Still gotta go to Zoe to get Carrot, right?
They got to go to Zoe to get Carrot, is what he said. Exactly right. But I don't know. I do feel like there is a possibility of us being done with a huge portion of the story by 2027. But I don't think we're going to be like wrapped up and actually done by that point. We're talking. No, you're all good. Hey, welcome. Are you guys One Piece fans?
I'm like low-key. I'm kind of a fake fan.
A fake fan? We got fake One Piece? Don't worry, it's Evo. It's a fighting game tournament. You're good. You only got to worry about it until they make One Piece fighters. Then you can catch up.
I gotta go to that watch party.
Oh, you got to go to the watch party. All right, take care, Game Prodigy. Absolutely.
I'll try to be back at like 12:40.
You got it. All right, we'll see you later, Prodigy. All right, real quick, one thing I want to mention, though, going back to your thing about, like, the final war and final arc. I think if he is starting to introduce this character like Tritoma, and he's introducing some of these other Rocks pirates, and we are probably going to see the fleshed out version of the Rocks incident, right? I feel like this is the moment, right? Like, I feel there was a lot of stuff that was kept back in, like, Big Mom's flashback and in Kaido's flashback that realistically I was kind of disappointed by the fact that we didn't see full information about a lot of these characters. Clearly he was withholding it for this, right? Like, I just didn't in my brain see a world in which we would have gotten this much information about this pirate crew in a flashback related to a character that is so integral to Elbaf and not really necessarily the world at large. Like, obviously he idolizes Rocks, but there's not really like any hint that he's going to join them at any point, right? Like I don't.
The flashback was all about.
I'm going to turn the camera.
I was going to say the Odin flashback has huge ties to Rogers. So
Yeah.
He does that.
Yeah, he does do that, but it's weird because the Roger stuff made sense because Odin was on Roger's crew, right? But like if Loki is not on Rox's crew and Harold is the friend of Rox, it just is strange that like not in a bad way, obviously. No, I guess that is kind of a Shanks. That's actually a good way to put it. Yeah, that Rox is almost like Loki Shanks in a way. Yeah, it's actually a really good way to put it. That would make sense. Yeah, like if we were gonna get a flashback for Luffy and he wasn't the main character, we would get information for Shanks. Exactly.
It's probably like Piccolo, right?
It's just like Piccolo.
The dad that stepped up.
Exactly, he's the dad that stepped up. No, I found this chapter to be amazing. I feel like seeing all of these characters in the past, seeing how this information is getting fleshed out, seeing the relationship again between these characters with the Roger Pirates, and then seeing, you know, all the stuff with the Kuja Pirates as well, seeing the stuff later on with the what's it called, that full page spread. This was amazing. I feel like I have very good luck with a lot of these like reactions that happen when we're live at conventions too, because I believe the one, not last year, but the one 2 years prior was also the Roger flashback in Wano Country. So I feel like whenever we do end up doing one during one of these big weekends, it ends up being something that's hype. I also want to really quickly read out one of the super chats that popped up on screen. This one comes from Raz5979, who said, I think Loki's telling the story of the day that Harold got killed. This whole part of the Rocks and the other stuff that the narrator's doing is simply filling in the context. So that was something that was brought up earlier. Also, so many people are going, this stream, Strusen is no surprise. He was with Big Mom from the start, but the stream is super hype, also frozen. Uh-oh, hold on. Is the stream frozen? Wait a minute. Let me adjust this. Hold on. Let me scroll. Oh my God, I didn't realize all this stuff was happening. All right. Hopefully it's still good. Hopefully it's not frozen. Thankfully, there's a lot of people in here. We should be okay. Jesse super chatted and said, with all this information on Rocks, do you think we're going to see God Valley? Loki's flashback simply isn't his flashback anymore. That was said by Jesse T63 in the chat. You know, yes, I actually do. That's kind of what I said earlier with the review, is I feel like we're going to have more of that fleshed out. I think even the stuff right now with like Shiki's rival and seeing that stuff there too with Kyo, like why take a whole panel to introduce Kyo if that's not going to be something that's going to be important a little bit later on? Like you had some of these other characters that were there that like we had already known about in the Rocks Pirates, but seeing Kyo just straight up get his full-on little introduction scene of like grabbing the dude with his bare hands and crushing his skull and finding out he's Shiki's rival. Again, it does seem to be set up for something more, and I do think it's going to have something to do with God Valley. Let me scroll on down a little bit more as well. Dude, the chat is going crazy. I am so sorry that I'm not able to read all this right now. This is just what happens when I'm doing it on my phone. This comes from Truffle6082, who says, Rock said the fruit reveals its true power only if Harold eats it. Maybe only an ancient giant can unlock it, which would explain why the royal bloodline stays pure to ensure that someone like Harold exists. Oh, interesting. See, I do wonder if that's the case, though. Like, we've talked about this in previous chapters before. Hey, what's going on? Look who's over here! By the way, meet up at the Spiff booth literally at noon. So if you guys missed the live reaction, which I'm assuming a lot of people did, mostly due to the fact everybody's in line for Tokon right now, we are going to be doing a meetup at 12 over at the Spiff booth. So take note of that. But anyway, on the topic of what Truffle said with the fruit revealing its true power if Harold eats it, I do very much feel like we're going to have something in relation to like an alternate sun god fruit, right? Like we already know that Loki ate whatever that fruit is, but we don't really know what that fruit is capable of. But we know, based on Loki being born of the royal blood and Estrid having the whole thing with, saying that like, oh, he's going to be special with the eyes and then like sending him away. I feel like the eyes are going to have to be important to the story at large. They have to be. So I feel like maybe the eyes are our hint, to the fruit, or our eyes are the hint to like what's being set up and eating the fruit. I'm not really sure, but what I do know is that Loki, obviously this is his flashback. We're going to end up seeing the fruit. The fruit is going to be related to whatever is going to be happening with Harold, and you know, we're going to be a couple chapters away from that at that point. So let's see. Moving forward, I got another super chat in here. Bro, we've got so many of these. Again, I apologize for not being able to see all of these live. This one comes from Shard Pop, who says, "What power does Silver Axe have?" In PG-14, in PG-14, bro, in page 14, he's humanized. After getting kicked, he grows twice as tall on page 15. Let me pull this up. Hey, James, could you pull this up on the screen real quick to go back to the chapter? Thank you very, very much. This is on page 14. Let me see. All right, here we go. Page 14, when we see Silver Axe's power and he gets kicked, he gets bigger? I thought it was just his robe flying off of him. I didn't think that was his power. What do you guys think? Is that his power? I literally thought it was just his robe getting taken off.
I think I have these are
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to be fair, Oda is not super consistent with sizes sometimes. I didn't think it was going to end up being something, though, where it's related to his power at all. That's a cool thing to know. Yeah, I literally didn't think that at all, where he gets kicked and then hold on a minute. Now that I'm seeing him picking him up like that, and he's growing, I'm almost wondering if maybe it's like, do we know the owner of Aruja's Devil Fruit? Right, there's the whole thing where like you get attacked and your muscle gets bigger and then you get... Because Aruja obviously is going to tie into Elbaf in some way too with the stuff with the monk. We haven't seen anything from him. Right, we haven't seen Aruja, and he's the only supernova that's left that we haven't had more information from. I do feel like maybe that's going to be our tie to it. Because now that I'm looking at that panel again, I do think there is like a scale thing. Again, you got to keep in mind, I'm trying to go through a lot of this on screen and trying to open this up. No, we are very clearly seeing on page 14, he gets kicked. He is like normal human size. And then we see him again. He stands up, grabs the dude with his bare fist. Cloak comes falling off, but he does look significantly bigger. And then you see, what is Shiki's rival doing here? And he's standing over everybody else. Unless he's like crouching on the other page, I do think it would be kind of cool if he does end up having like Uruja's power, and that is going to end up being like our tie into Elbaf. Because again, we don't know much about Silver Axe at all. This is all kind of like new territory. So I think the fact that you pointed that out, Shard Pop, is very solid. So thank you for bringing that up. Also, people are asking in the chat, is Kyo dead? Yes, Silver Axe is dead. We saw him as a zombie, I believe, in Thriller Bark. So yes, Kyo is most definitely dead. Let me open this up as well. I got another super chat I got to read. Hold on. Again, sorry people, I have to scroll on all of this.
She's got little white wings. She's got little black wings.
Oh, that's also an interesting thing to note. So James just pointed out, could you show that again? So Shaki, when we see her in the past, has like these little black wings, but in the past she's got white wings.
It probably means nothing, but...
No, I don't think it means nothing. Knowing Oda, I feel like there's definitely something going on here. That is interesting to bring up. I did not notice that.
I don't know, I feel like wings, you know?
She also cut her hair, to be fair, though, too. She cut her hair, she decided to get straight across bangs and a bob. So she did change how she looked. She said, I don't want to deal with them anymore. New haircut, new do. I'm done with Roger. I'm done with everybody else. That line from Gloriosa, by the way, not to eat into some of the theories in the super chats in the chat, but that line from Gloriosa where it's like, I love you, Roger. Pay attention to me. And he just completely blows her off, I think is amazing. This is so good. Also, people are in the chat are saying, going back to what I mentioned with the second Empress from 2 generations ago, Tritoma, Juan mentioned in the chat, Dragon and her should be around 14 or 16 years old at this point in the story. So your timeline tracks. Tritoma is definitely young and below 20 at this point. When she's older in the SBS, you can definitely see the difference. Wait, we saw her older in an SBS? I don't remember that. Also, Mental Liberation is responding back to what we said earlier, saying, Oda's a perpetual liar. We love you, Oda. Hilarious, bringing up the time frame difference. That said, it's great they're having a live reading literally at EVO. Kudos to you still doing the live stream. Of course. Again, these are some of my favorite ones, doing these live. My main thing is the fact that the stream is apparently not... Oh, yeah, we did... Wait a minute. We did see Tritoma. Hold on. All right, so this is Tritoma's look from the SBS. We did actually see her as an adult. Wait, let me see this one again. You know what's crazy? I think we literally saw that character, talked about it in an SBS live stream, and I'm pretty sure I said, what if that's Dragon's wife? That's kind of crazy that's so the fact that I doubled down on it again here is nuts. Thank you again for showing that. That is the beauty of it. See, you should be in every chapter live. Why don't you move to LA?
Be like your assistant.
Just move into the apartment next to me. Move to LA. You could be my assistant, right? Your payment would be your rent, and you could just come over and tell me all the things that I can pull up during the live streams. This is fire. All right. Let me read a couple more because the chat is going crazy. Also, Rads is saying, say hello to everybody at Evo. Also, Sandbasket is saying, I actually do really like that format for the stream. Well, again, it's not always like this. Also, I got the hiccups, excuse me. It's not always like this. We just kind of had to make do with, being at Evo, being in the middle of the booth, having it come out during the time that I'm out of town. We'll be back to the normal setup before. I do kind of want to switch, though, back to the vertical format, like every once in a while, to have it where it's like a vertical version of the stream and a horizontal version, because I do feel like a lot of people engage with the vertical a little bit more in the live chat, whereas like for the horizontal version, more people like watching it as a VOD. Unfortunately, I don't have the co-streaming thing set up yet where I could do the vertical and the horizontal at the same time, but I'm looking into doing that in the future, so I will keep that in mind, Sandkit Basket.
Does this mean anything? Tritoma also is Torch Lily or Red Hot Poker?
Oh, I did not know that. All right, apparently Tritoma is another name for a red hot poker flower.
A torch lily or a torch lily.
Or a torch lily. Can you show me the what those flowers look like on the screen, James? All right, right there. Interesting.
It looks like candy corn.
It does look like candy corn a little bit. Do you like candy corn?
Nah.
No? Okay, James said no. He's like, no, absolutely not.
I think I did for like 3 months as a kid or something.
Also, yeah, further confirmation, Rob brought this up as well. It was in volume 109. It was released last July. If you're looking to find that stream, go back and find it. That's when we saw Trotoma in the SBS. Also, hold on, I gotta scroll through some more of this. Randall said the only thing with the time difference is that Tritoma would have had to have been very old if she gave birth to Luffy when that happened. Not necessarily, right? Because Dragon current story is what, 45 or something? Dragon's, I think, in his 40s. Garp is obviously in his 60s. Yeah, Shaki's like in her 60s as well. Like, again, the Roger, Garp, Kuja Pirates that we see in this chapter, all of that era. Gloriosa is literally Lady Nyan right now. She's like a tiny little shrunken down old lady. So I think, again, if Tritoma was super young at this point, I could see it tracking.
She's grandma.
She could, yeah, exactly. There you go. See, the other thing about this, which is interesting, is I'm wondering, like, where if Luffy is related to the Amazon in some way, right? Like if Tritoma is actually Luffy's mother and Dragon is actually the father, and yeah, she's grandma, like you said, the Gloriosa to be grandma. I'm almost wondering if like she would have died. I guess she would have had to die prior to Luffy's flashback in post-war because he never knew his mother, right? But I'm almost wondering if like she was at least alive for the first few years of his life, and Luffy just doesn't remember, like from when he was like 1, 2, or 3, and then she dies. Dragon does something, ends up leaving, abandons Garp, starts the Revolutionary Army, meets up with Kuma, does all this stuff. Timing wise, I have to look all this stuff later. I feel like I almost want to do like a separate theory stream for this one when I get back to LA, because there really is a lot of information here, and I do want to dive deep into this one. Also, Saravan said, the Kuja only give birth to daughters, though. Am I wrong? I might be confusing it a little bit with the Gerudo. I think you are confusing it to the Gerudo. I do believe that men can be born into it. The thing is that men aren't present in Amazon Lily, right? That like they kick all the men out, they destroy all of them, they kick them in the face. So I don't think the men just aren't present, but you had all these other Amazon like thirsting after Luffy when he first arrived. So I think they all do want to have kids, but I don't necessarily think that it's something where like they can't have boys. Because in fact, isn't that one of the things that was brought up with the Kuja Pirates like way back in the day, was that they would like kidnap the men to then have their children?
They would just come back.
Right.
Ladies, but they're always girls.
They were always girls, exactly.
She just had to dump.
Yeah, exactly. She just dumps off Luffy in the East Blue.
She dies 'cause she's so heartbroken.
That'd be crazy if that was the case, though. That would absolutely be insane. Also, yes, you are correct. I looked this up on the wiki. Dragon and Tritoma are indeed the same age. We also have Devin in the chat saying we are definitely going to get the Roger flashback because we're getting Loki's and Scopper's point of view at the exact same time. That is also genuinely good to bring up the fact that, like, yeah, Gabon is here listening to all this in real time as Loki is repeating all this stuff to Haruden, so he can maybe back up and like fill in some of the gaps in the story.
That's what we're seeing.
Yeah, it could be. It literally could be that Gabon, like, we're not seeing them telling the story.
Talk about the women.
Exactly.
He's like, wait, this is important.
Gabon's a ladies' man, and he's like, let me just do a whole side chapter about the Kuja Pirates because I liked them and they were a big part of the story at that point. That is actually so funny to bring up. Yeah, I actually didn't even consider the fact that Gabon could be filling in the gaps for some of the stuff with the Rocks Pirates and with the Roger Pirates. That's a cool thing to bring up, Chad. Yeah.
I'm number 2.
Exactly. Also, hold on. I got to give a quick shout out to Joe. Real quick, let me show something on the stream. I got to do this live on stream. This, sorry, James, I knocked this over. This was handed to me first day of the show floor. We got this gorgeous little, it's a mystery light up devil fruit. We're going to open this up on stream once James is done. He's going to hold the camera. I'm going to see which one I get. We got all these other little mystery fruits and stuff over there. You got the Maramara no Mi, the Hana Hana fruit, I think the Gum Gum fruits. Well, technically it's the Hito no Mi, Model Nika, whatever. I still call it the Gum Gum fruit. Fake fans. All right, it's fine. We got all these over here. We're going to be opening up that a little bit later in the stream. Also, I just realized my microphone was not attached, so you probably didn't hear any of that. What I was saying is I'm going to do an unboxing of that that little mystery devil fruit a little bit later. I also want to read this out real quick. Someone brought up in the chat, maybe this is also a good point. Maybe Dragon's tattoo is somewhat related to his wife's death. That in some way, maybe it relates to something we're going to see in the flashback with the Rocks Pirates, and maybe something we're going to see with him. And that's a good point, maybe. Also, Rob is doubling down saying, it is only that the Kuja Pirates brought back females. It is stated once again that the women who leave Amazon Lily sometimes return pregnant, but most of the time they give birth to females. So again, that would also tie into like Luffy being special, and like the Nika fruit and the Sun God thing, and Kuma in the flashback. There's a lot of Destiny stuff going on in the story right now, which, like, I don't necessarily know how I feel about it, but I also don't mind. I feel like at this point, if it's going to give us more information about stuff we weren't going to see otherwise, I'm cool with it.
People truly know who Luffy's mother is until the dragon.
Which, to be fair, I think we're probably going to get in Final War, right? Like, if Final War is going to be the revolutionaries and the admirals, if I had to guess, I feel like we're probably going to get a flashback for Akainu and a flashback for Dragon. Those are the two during Final War that probably make the most sense, other than, of course, Joy Boy, right? Like Joy Boy and Emu, that has to happen near the end to find out eventually like what happened there before we get to Laugh Tale. But I do feel like the truth of the world and things that were hidden are things that we're going to find out once we actually get to Laugh Tale proper. But yeah, I agree. Like Dragon, Akainu, Emu, Joy Boy, all stuff we're going to have to get through. Let me read this other one real quick. Also, Shushant super chatted and said, the thing you were talking about was Wang Ji and Ochako. Thank you. Yes, that's the other character I was thinking of. Thank you for bringing that up. Barbell does look like someone from the Barbell, by the way, chat, is the catfish fishman. Says, Barbell does look like someone from the God Valley chapter, the fishman dude. If you look back at the Rocks Pirate group, basically Linlin steals the fruit of Kaido, and that's when you see him in the background. Interesting. I got to go take a look at that chapter then when I'm back home. Also, Rob super chatted and said, from the wiki, it is stated that the women who leave Amazon... Oh, this... Okay, again, the thing we brought up early. The women who leave Amazon Lily who return pregnant, but they always give birth to females. There you go. I want to read one more coming up here. This one says, this is from Josa in the chat, who said, I want to see a flashback to Fujitora as to why he blinded himself. That is kind of strange we didn't get that during the Reverie. I thought almost certainly we would have seen that during the Reverie. That is a little weird.
I think he did say, Dressrosa, that he was all the corruption in the world.
Right. It was like the evils of the world is why he blinded himself, but we never exactly saw what the evil was. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a culmination of like all the horrible things that the world government did or something, and that's why he blinded himself. Maybe we won't ever get what that exact thing was. But yeah, I think there's a possibility for it. I think, as we've seen with this flashback, there's a possibility for a lot of characters to be folded into a lot of different flashbacks, right? Just being in the middle of a Loki flashback, we've gotten Rock stuff, we've gotten Kuja Pirate stuff, we've gotten Roger stuff, Garp stuff, so I think anything is possible, yeah. Also, I apparently missed another super chat. So let me scroll up. I'm sorry about that, people. Again, doing this off my phone doesn't allow me to see the super chats in the chat at full when it's like flying in the chat. Where is this other one? This one comes from Shard Pop. We read that one out earlier. This next one is, hold on, give me a second. Oh, Truffle, here we go. Thank you, Truffle. Oh no, wait a minute, Truffle, I already read this one. This is the one about Harold eating the fruit and it being special potentially to the ancient giant bloodline. We talked about that one. Let me scroll up a little bit more. Goodness gracious, there are so many up here. Jesse, that one about God Valley. Oh, David, here we go. I got it, David, I got yours. David super chatted and said, Rox knows too much. 2 theories. Either he found Davy Jones' logbook and has been to Laugh-Tale already, or he needs the Conquerors to face the Immortals and needs the Giants' help for it, i.e. fighting and taking down Emu. Well, I think Davy Jones is a lock. I mean, we've seen this time and time again throughout the course of this flashback that like he is a follower of Davy Jones. We brought up during the last chapter reaction that the Davy back fight finally being important is awesome. Potentially seeing the ties to Blackbeard as well now that we know that Rox is Blackbeard's father. You know, that moment of Rox being in Emu's chamber saying, I'll be back. Blackbeard potentially doing the parallel of that going into the next chapter. You know, somehow maybe having like the will of Rox within him and then having that during Final War. So I don't know necessarily when the Davy Jones stuff is going to get fleshed out, but certainly it will be fleshed out before the end of Final War. Again, I think like everything related to pretty much any character in the story other than like stuff with Joy Boy maybe, and like the truth about the Void Century, all of that stuff we're going to have to know by the end of Final War before we get to Laugh-Tale. Again, thankfully I am not Oda. I'm not the one who has to put all this stuff together and figure out where things go. But either way, thank you very much for your super chat. Also, Later Storm is saying it is crazy that Gloriosa has the love sickness for Roger. But again, we've seen her as Granny Nyan, so she's still alive and kicking. So we know she didn't die from the love sickness, but we just find out that, again, she got it from Roger in this chapter. Oh, yes, we do have to see the thumbnail. Also, real quick, Tech Zero super chatted and said, greetings, fam and RogersBase. The rock stocks went up a bunch during this chapter. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. I agree. Rox is super hype. Now, James, as I'm pulling these down, James is about to pull up the thumbnail for this week. James, you are still working on the thumbnail, I believe, right?
Yeah.
He's been very busy with Evo. Thankfully, we have the standalone thumbnail of me at the Evo booth, and then when I get back with my computer, after I get back from Evo, I'll upload the thumbnail. But you guys are going to see the work in progress. So here we go. Reaction. Let's see it, James. Oh, okay. Okay, of course he did. Hold this up real quick, James. So now I want to see this. Showcase your beautiful work. Of course, we have none other than the young Shaki, Shaku Yaku in the back, smoking. I love, by the way, every time you use that backdrop, it looks like the little pop filter back. I don't know what it is about it, but I really like that.
It makes it more interesting than a blank background.
But I also love the fact that you smoked the little heart out of the puff of the cigarette. Looks really good. Also, this is gonna be crazy. I almost think the way you drew her is even cuter.
Oh yeah?
When you said cute at the beginning of this chapter reaction, I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? It's gonna be a cute chapter. But I really love the design. You did like the little puffed up lips and everything too, where she's blowing out the smoke, the little frills around the dress. Absolutely lovely. And you'll notice the attention to detail. James brought this up during the reaction as well. He drew the little, let me show this. Hold on, where is this? It says orientation is locked, device back down. I think you guys can still see it. He drew like the little white wings. I do wonder if like the wings are going to be tied to something in the story.
I feel like they won't, but I feel like maybe unless something like she like, you know, gets her heart broken or something.
Well, she will. I mean, she's going to get her heart broken for sure by Rayleigh.
Yeah.
But we see that as a good ending. The two of them eventually end up together. She's fine. She's chilling in the bar. There's literally no problem. Exactly.
It says in her presence, flowers wilted and crumbled. I don't know if that's like her devil fruit. I don't know what that's about.
I think it's almost more of like the beauty of the Kuja Pirates, right? Like, unless maybe but she's alive still. Right, she's alive, so it couldn't be her devil fruit is like Boa's devil fruit. Though it would almost be like interesting if there was an alternate love devil fruit if we had like a secondary one. Yeah, she might not. I mean, it might literally just be she's so hot that like people are just falling to their feet looking at her. It could literally be that. I do wonder though if any of these characters have devil fruits. I don't think they necessarily need it. Like we know the Amazons are trained in hockey. Like Yeah, I don't necessarily think we need one. The one of the devil fruits that I was sort of questioning from this chapter is still Silver Axe, because when I looked at that panel again, there is something going on with his sizing.
Because she was tortured into eating.
Right, exactly.
So they might not. They're hockey.
Yeah, exactly. They're hockey enough. They don't really need much more with their devil fruit. It's just maybe their hockey is so strong when paired with their beauty, everyone just gets knocked out. That's exactly it. Let me see. That's my spit. Oh, that's because of my hype. I was reading off your iPod. My hype was flying out.
Yeah, she's got the see-through sleeves.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, look at that. You can see the see-through sleeves.
He was really making that apparent in like the panels.
The see-through sleeves?
Yeah.
Let's look. Oh, I guess, yeah, he does make it a little bit apparent. If you guys look on page, there's page 8 and page 9, during that shot where she's like ushering over Roger. Yeah, and then that one as well. It's almost like a fishnet.
Yeah.
It's like a weird like fishnet see-through.
Or his way of just like shading it to look see-through.
Either way, I like it. I'm looking at that panel again on the next page. That shot of Garp and Roger punching each other in the face.
I like that it's
just
comical.
incredible.
Like it almost feels like they're just goofing around.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they do respect each other, right? Like he eventually leaves Ace within his care, like, you know, and the two of them, even in that one panel where we see young Ace, I mean, when we see, it's my man, when we see young Garp and we see young Roger, they really do look like a young Luffy and a young Ace, right? So it's cool once again to see their designs carry over through the generations. But with that being said, we've been going for an hour. I've got a meet and greet I got to do. I also have an interview that I got to do. I got to wrap it up here, but I got one more thing I want to do. James, could you hold my camera real quick? Just real quick, I want to open up something. Hold on. Just aim it towards me.
This?
Hold on. Yeah. So aim it towards me. I'm going to open this up. Let's see. This is from Joe once again. We are going to do an opening of which devil fruit, which light up devil fruit I got at Evo. Let's see. Wait. Oh. Wait, whose is this? I don't even know whose this is. Wait a minute. It's a white pear. Chats? Oh, what the heck? What is this material? It's a squishy. Oh yeah, look at that. It's like a little glowing light. That's so cute. I love that.
That's crazy.
We got little glowing. Oh, this is Doflamingos. Interesting. Have we? Oh, I guess yeah. This would be the string fruit, right? I don't remember it being a pear though. Well, cool. To be fair, Doflamingo is one of my favorite characters in all of One Piece. Oh, I'll grab the camera back. Thank you very much. Doflamingo is one of my favorite characters and one of my, favorite villains. So the fact that I got his devil fruit is great. Thank you once again to Joe for handing it over. This is awesome. This is fantastic. Thank you all once again coming through to the stream. Yeah, you guys are all saying the Ito know me. I'm happy to have it. Again, I will be back in LA next weekend. I'm going to be in New York this week. I'm going to try to do a stream on Tuesday from the event at New York. I know everything is like under embargo, but I'm hoping at some point they're going to let me film something. I will say, I can't say what it is, but I will say if you're at Evo, you're probably going to like the thing that I'm seeing on Tuesday. So I'll just say that. If you're into video games, you're going to like the stream that hopefully I'm able to do on Tuesday. Thank you all once again for coming to the stream. Thank you once again for everybody coming and reading the chapters over at Evo as well. This is great. Thank you to James for hosting at the booth. This is awesome. People have been going back and forth. This Evo has just been amazing. Saying hi to everybody, seeing everybody. The fact we were able to do this from the booth and not have a bunch of technical issues, it's been great. So thank you once again, everybody. Have fun, Roger. Thank you very much. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Nakama. Bye, everybody.